Hey man, Pastor Brad here. Welcome to something brand new. Okay, I've never done this before. Trying something new. Hope that it will be cool and something that will be enjoyable for you. Starting kind of a brand new strategy. Starting to release, instead of like an album where I just dump a whole bunch of songs at one moment and then kind of stretch out talking about it over the year. I am releasing a single each month. Okay, and this past week, when you watch this video, the first week of June 2021, I released Blessed Believer, which is my parody of Ted Nugent's Cat Scratch Fever. And go check that out. I'll put the link to that video in the description here if you missed it. And here I just want to kind of break it down, okay? I'm going to try to do this with each of my songs as I release them. And if this is something that you enjoy, I hope, this will be something you can come back and check out for each song. If you are if you're a recording artist yourself, you're working on that, maybe, who knows, maybe you'll pick up some cool stuff. I'll talk about some of what I use and that kind of thing. What we're looking at right here is, this is my DAW, one of my DAWs. It's, DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation. Okay, it's the program that you use to mix and create music. This is put out by Cakewalk. It's an older program. They don't even make it anymore. Matter of fact, I think Cakewalk's out of business. It was bought out by Gibson, and they've got their own thing now. But anyway, I got this years ago. It's only 32 tracks. I say only because now it's like limitless, most people. But I've never used more than 20 tracks for a song anyway. I'm creating rock and roll, man, right? A couple guitars, a lead guitar, bass, drums, and some vocals. What do you need? And I've kind of experimented with dropping new things and sounds and sound effects in, but still, dude, I got 32 tracks. I'm not going to use them all. I'm good. I love this software. One of the things about a software that a musician comes to understand is that this is an instrument, right? It's just like your guitar. It's just like your bass. It is one of your instruments. And when you get familiar with an instrument, man, you don't want to change, you want to hang on to that. So I'm actually working on a plan because this will only run. It won't run on, I can't get it to run anyway on Windows 10. So this is Windows 7. I've got this computer completely offline because I just don't want it to have to. One of the issues with updating is you need to update if you're going to be online because of virus protection and all that. So anyway, that's just, you probably don't care about that stuff. But I'm really working hard to preserve this program that I love is the point. And I'm gonna build a new computer here eventually. At least this is the plan, that will run Windows 7 and continue to use this software. It's that important to me because once you get used to it, I know what all these knobs do. I know what all the features do, and I don't even have to think about using this software. I'm just creating music. It's just automatic for me, right? Which is really cool. So anyway, I've got Blessed Believer loaded up here. You're looking at the mixing window, and I already looked at a kind of preliminary video that I shot. I know that this is turning out decent, so I know you can see my faders here, right? Each one of these is a track. I've got my kick drum, let me do it this way. I've got my kick drum, my snare drum, my hi-hat. I've got claps in this because in Blessed Believer, if you listen to, go back and listen to Cat Scratch Fever, there's claps on the snare drum, all right, in the chorus. And so I dropped some claps in here. I've got toms in tracks 5, 6, and 7. And just a little thing for you. I pan my toms. That means I put them in the stereo field from left to right from the perspective of the drummer. Okay? Just an interesting thought. I hadn't even thought about this till I thought about how I was going to explain this. If you go see a drummer live, you're sitting out in front of the drum kit, right? If they're right-handed, which most drummers are, the snare drum will be kind of situated to the left side. Well, I guess as you're sitting out in front looking at the drum kit, the snare will be situated a little bit off to the right. hi-hat will be over here, and the higher toms will be over here, and their roll will go in that direction, right? So a lot of mixers will mix the toms from right to left, because that's the way you would experience it. For whatever reason, when I got started, I always pictured myself, because I'm also creating the drum tracks, right? So I put myself in the drummer's seat. And when I mix stuff, I mix it from the drummer's perspective. So all of my toms are panned from the left to the right. Okay, you'll notice that if there's a roll, it'll go from the left speaker to the right. That's just how I do it. And I've gotten so used to it, I like it, so that's how I keep it. I've got 2 tracks for cymbals, because I like to kind of pan them right and left too. And then I've got my bass. I've got a second bass here. There's a story behind why I did that. I'm just combining 2 frequency things. Every song is its own thing. And sometimes you just got to find what works for that song. And in this case, it's the same track, just with a little different processing on it, so that I get the high frequency I want and the low. I've got 2 guitars, right and left. It's actually the same guitar part, just panned right and left to leave some space in the middle for the vocals. Here's your lead guitar and vocals right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this start playing, and I've got everything muted except for the drums and the bass, which is really kind of weird for this song because it starts with a guitar riff. So actually, hold on, you gotta have the guitar part in the beginning of this, right? So I gotta unmute this because the whole song is built around that classic Ted Nugent guitar riff that goes like this. And so I'm just gonna let it start playing. I'll drop the guitars back out in a minute, and then we'll just one by one we'll bring the tracks in to just give you sort of a sense of how the song was built. Okay, so let's start with that classic guitar riff, and then we'll take it back out and slowly add things back in. Here comes the bass. Boom. Okay, now I'm going to drop these back out. Hear the claps? That's the chorus portion of the song. It's really just the intro here. Now the vocals come in here, and this is where the vocals start right here. I don't know how well you can see that in the shot. This song is all about. It's my testimony. A lot of my songs come from some aspect of my testimony of how God has just redeemed me, and I'm so grateful. I can't think of anything better to sing about, honestly. Although I try to work some variety in there, but a lot of stuff comes back to that. But anyway, this is talking about how I am a blessed believer, and pretty soon I'll release probably next week or sometime real soon this month. I'll release a teaching video on the lyric here. This was inspired by the fact that Christ has raised me up, and He's made me a blessed believer of His, and we'll talk about that. But the lyrics, as I mentioned, are my testimony. So I'm not going to bring the guitar in just yet. I'm going to let the vocals run with the just the bass and drums, so you can hear them, and then I'll comment a little bit.
Well, he didn't have to do it, but I'm sure glad it's done. So glad He did it for me. And I know I don't deserve it, no, I never could. So glad He's doing it for free.
See, that really, we all get this, especially if you're a believer. That's just me saying, dude, I'm dead in the water. I'm history without Jesus. There's nothing I can do. I'm so glad He did it for me. I'm so glad He went to the cross for me, right? I'm so glad He did it for free, because I could never save up enough pennies in my lifetime to pay for it, right? I couldn't work it off. It's grace, man. It's God's riches at Christ's expense. It's awesome. Now here comes the first round of the chorus.
Oh, I'm a blessed believer. Blessed believer.
Okay, so it just goes through it once there, and then it goes back into, and for the next verse, I'm going to go ahead and unmute the guitars and bring them in. Here we go.
I remember when it hit me, I was 20 years old. It dropped me straight to the floor.
back into the chorus. But that's, man, that line, I was 20 years old, man. That's exactly when it happened. When I was about 15-ish, I mean, there was a lot of things. Between 13 and 15, I was really getting the claws of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll world of the 80s metal scene was really getting it, sinking its claws into me, and I was experimenting with partying and all kinds of stuff. I always believed in Jesus, but around the time that I hit 15 or 16, I got tired of going to church and feeling like such a hypocrite because I was partying on Saturday night and then showing up at church and singing the songs and taking communion, and it was just weird. And I don't know how to describe it. I never quit believing in Jesus, but I just said I'm not doing church because I want to live for the world, and there's no sense in living for the world and coming here and pretending. That was just my attitude. I've never been good at faking. Just never have. And so I went and lived for the world, man. That's just what I did. But at 20, by the time I hit 20, those 7 years, or, I'm saying between 13 and 20, God allowed me to hit rock bottom, man. One thing I learned, we're free to make any choice we want. We can choose to do whatever we want, but we can't choose the consequences of those decisions. And I had to learn that lesson really hard. So I hit rock bottom, and praise God, when I turned to Him, He lifted me up and made me
'Cause I'm a blessed believer.
a blessed believer. Super awesome.
Blessed believer.
Let's see if we can get to the solo. By the way, I like doing parodies because, for a lot of reasons, I think it gives you a cool version of a song, right? That maybe I struggled to listen to that song because 99% of those songs in that day were about sex, and and not in a God-honoring way. So when you recreate a song with some lyrics that God are Christ-honoring, it's cool. But I also like doing these because I know I don't have Ted's voice, and I don't even claim to be like a fantastic singer. I just do my best. But I love doing some of these because they do kind of push me to, because I listen to the original lyric and vocal the best I can, and I do pick things up, like the way Ted sang, his note choice. These guys, they don't just sing a song from shooting from the hip. They think about certain note choices, and that really shows up in the bridge right before the solo. And I think this looks like that we're at that point. Let me see if that's where we are. Nope, let's go on through one more chorus. Maybe it's here.
God never changes. He stays the same.
Okay. God never changes. He stays the same. And then here.
So we can trust his
name. I just loved, I don't know, that was just cool to me, the way he didn't just go, God never changes. He stays the same. I mean, he put some melody in there that went up and down, and it's just kind of cool. I think it adds something neat to it. But
No need to hide it.
yeah, no need to hide it. No need to frown.
No need
Whatever.
for shame.
No need for shame.
Well, I'm gonna tell the
Oh, wow. I'm going.
tell the whole world his name.
Oh, I don't have the solo there. So let me go back and pull that in. Where is... Oh, here it is. The lead is muted. Let's unmute that. Very cool style he has. Ted bends notes in a way that a lot of guys don't bend. Just like, I know I'm not... sounds silly, I'm sure, on the video. But he just has this way of repeating a bend that's fluid and creates a cool sound, and it was fun working that out. So here it is. That's just like that's what's called a pedal note, where you're putting two strings together and sliding into it. It sounds really cool. There's one of those, just a fluidity of bending that was kind of fun to... Okay, here's another just cool repeating, bending lick that Ted does that was really cool to kind of play with. Here it is. Just cool.
Well, he changed my heart.
Okay, and then it's just more of the story and how he changed my heart, and but that's a sense of how I built that song. I try really hard to pan things out, guitars right and left, and the bass, of course, is right in the middle. The snare is always right in the middle, but to make room for the vocals to come through, because that's one of the things I really like to try to do is I want you to be able to hear every word, right, when I'm done mixing, so you can understand it, because vocals, or especially from the perspective that I'm doing this, the lyrics matter, right? So I hope it rocks you up, man. That is Blessed Believer, a little behind the scenes. Again, the link to the lyric video is in the description. Go check it out. And I look forward to doing this with all these tunes. God bless you, man. Thanks for hanging with me. Definitely leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, do that. Hit the bell, the notification. And if you know of a friend who might enjoy something like this, share it with them, man. All right? God bless you. Bye-bye.